listening to the Agent Survival Guide podcast, a podcast for today's insurance agents. Informing, educating, empowering, improving the way you do business in an industry that's anything but static. In today's episode, before you begin your first attempt at the AHIP certification, we've got the details on what to expect, how to study, and more. AHIP Test Tips and Tricks for Medicare Certification, written by Roxanne Anderson and updated for the 2026 annual enrollment period. Planning on taking the AHIP Medicare training test for the first time? You don't have to stress because we've put together a list of tips and tricks for passing AHIP. Our hope is that this episode will help you and even more experienced agents improve your chances of getting AHIP certified on the first try. In order to sell Medicare Advantage plans and Part D products, all agents must complete government-required Medicare and fraud, waste, and abuse training to be considered ready to sell. One common way agents satisfy this requirement is through AHIP training and certification. You can learn more about the test itself by listening to our episode on what AHIP certification is, which is linked in the notes. Today, we're providing you with AHIP help on how to best prepare for the exam and how to set yourself up for success while taking it. Before we get into the tips and tricks, success on any test, exam, certification, whatever it happens to be called, is to put in the preparation time by studying. We fully believe that the best resources for passing the AHIP final exam are the training modules and AHIP practice quizzes. Back in school, the best way to pass an exam was not putting your textbook under your pillow and hoping for the diffusion of knowledge while you were sleeping. It was studying the material from the textbook and your notes. So with that said, let's get into tip number 1, review the training modules. Go through the AHIP training modules at least once. Review them for a second time or third time if they're new to you. Take your time going through the information. Don't rush to get through the modules. Let the details on each slide sink in, especially if it's your first time taking this exam. If you're recertifying, you may only be required to take parts 4 and 5, but we recommend taking all the parts to refresh your memory and get you ready for all the different questions you'll encounter on the final test. Number 2, complete the AHIP practice quizzes. Practice quizzes are placed throughout the training modules. Complete them and retake them as many times as you'd like. In the past, many of the questions from the AHIP practice quizzes have appeared on the AHIP final exam. So it's important that you're comfortable answering all of these questions and any potential variations. If you get a question wrong on one of these quizzes, try to find or work out the correct answer within the modules. Then, write the question down with the answer, or at least jot down the topic giving you trouble and reference the modules as a resource. This brings us to our next tip. Number 3, take as many notes as you need. While reviewing the modules or taking the practice quizzes, if you have trouble remembering something from a slide, make note of it and where to find the correct information. Take notes, lots of notes if you'd like. Then study them and keep them handy for the test. Spoiler alert, the AHIP test is an open book test, so you can actually refer to your notes and the modules while taking the test. If you'd like, you can print a physical copy of the modules, or at least the modules you had more trouble with, but be warned. There are 5 different modules, and some modules have more than 100 pages. If you're on your second or third attempt and have a lot of renewals and future income on the line,
we think it may still be worth it to print them all. You can also download the modules and save them to your computer if you want to save on paper and ink. If you do print the modules, don't be afraid to highlight specific sections. Just don't go overboard and highlight everything because everything's important. Our pro tip: take all of your notes in a Microsoft Word document if you can. I did this while going through the licensing coursework, and it was extremely helpful when it came time to study for the exam. While taking the test for the first time, quickly write down the questions or topics you're struggling with and why. If you don't pass the test on the first try, take a really good look at these questions and think about why your answers may have been wrong and what could be the right answer. Make note of where to find these answers in the modules. Study those parts of the modules a little harder before trying again. Or try to take more notes to help you during the exam, even if they're just to say, look at slide 52 for this answer. Also, don't stress if you don't pass the test on the first try. It happens. That's why you get more than one chance to pass. Just remember, as you're compiling notes and studying, AHIP is an open book test, but it's also a timed test. Use that to your advantage. This means you can and should refer to the materials AHIP gives you, as well as any additional notes you take during the test. What I will caution against: it does not give you reason to avoid studying or fly through the test. 0 out of 10, we do not recommend that. So coming in at number 4, don't skip studying. Before you start the test, make sure to download the slides and save them to your computer or print them. Also, keep in mind, again, our recommendation to put in the preparation. We say that for a reason. Just because the test is open book does not mean that you can skip studying. Being familiar with the material you're tested on is always a good idea, especially for open book exams. Why? You don't want to spend all your time searching for answers. You just want to be able to find answers if you can't remember something or if you encounter a more difficult question. Sometimes simply reading over your notes won't be enough to make the contents stick. Consider implementing some of these study techniques. Involve your voice. Read your notes out loud to yourself. Involve movement. Read your notes out loud while pacing. Pare down. Take the top notes you're struggling with and fit them on one typed page. Slow down. Rewrite your top bullet points by hand. Use visual aids. Draw pictures, charts, or diagrams on your notes or printed modules. Color code topics with highlighters or sticky notes. Number 5, watch your pace. To complete the test, you must be able to get through 50 questions in 2 hours. That sounds easy enough, right? But remember, you can only spend about 2 to 2.5 minutes on each question, especially if you want time to review your answers afterward or go back to any challenging questions. Also, keep in mind that if you have to retake the test, the questions are randomly selected, and you could get different ones each time. To make the best use of your time during the test, go through once and answer all the questions you confidently know the answers for. Make note of any questions you're unsure of. Then, after one pass, go back to the harder questions and utilize your notes. The only way an attempt will officially count as an attempt is if you hit the submit button or if the timer for the test runs out. You no longer have to worry about a refresh of your screen counting as an attempt. Because AHIP is a timed test, that makes it super important to use your time and resources as efficiently as possible. You don't want to waste valuable seconds and minutes constantly flipping through pages or scrolling through the modules on your computer. So let's talk about one of our favorite topics, how tech can help. Number 6, take the test in Google Chrome. Fun fact, agents using Google Chrome may experience fewer issues with errors and submission than those using other web browsers. Number 7, utilize keyboard shortcuts to find specific keywords or phrases. Looking for a particular note you made that can help you answer a specific question? If you took your notes in a Microsoft Word document, then you don't have to scroll through all of your notes until something looks familiar. Instead, click into your Word document, then press the Control and F buttons on your keyboard at the same time to open the Find feature. If you're working on a Mac, you'll want to press the Command and F buttons at the same time. You can usually use this Find feature while in a Word document, PowerPoint presentation, PDF, web pages, and other applications and programs. After the field has been pulled up, simply type in a keyword or phrase and click Find. The tool should allow you to quickly go to the places in the document where that word or phrase is mentioned. When using that Find feature, don't search for phrases or whole sentences. You'll have much better results entering one keyword or a very short phrase as opposed to longer phrases or sentences. Now, unfortunately, this trick no longer works for searching within the training modules, which is another reason why we recommend taking really good, organized notes in the first place, as well as taking them in Microsoft Word. And quick tech tip, unless you are running Windows 11, this trick will not work for notes taken in the Notepad program. Number 8, maximize or minimize your computer screens. One way you can save time is by making half of your computer screen show the AHIP exam and the other half show the modules you downloaded. This is also known as split screening. You can do this by opening the internet window you'll be taking the exam in and then sizing it to fit half of your screen. Then open the AHIP training modules you downloaded and save and size them to fit the other half of your screen. If the pages are difficult to read or this method just isn't working out, it may be easier to have each file take up the whole screen and just flip back and forth between them. If you're more tech savvy and have a second computer screen available, another thing you can do is hook up that second screen so you can have two of them side by side. On one screen, have the test open, and on the other, have the modules open. If you have a laptop and a desktop monitor, adding a second screen could be as easy as plugging in a cable, like a VGA to HDMI adapter that connects your screen to your laptop. Number 9, and probably the most important, do not close out of the exam window. Your answers will not be saved if you exit out of the exam window. Last but not least, coming in at number 10, let's talk about how to take steps to proactively ease test anxiety and nerves. If you already suffer from test anxiety or will have butterflies in your stomach come game time, there are a few ways you can foster a calmer test-taking environment. We recommend following these tips for a better test-taking experience. Hunker down in a good location. This could be your home office, your living room, or the local library. Anywhere you can find some peace and quiet. Plug into at least one power outlet and maintain a stable internet connection for several hours. Minimize your exposure to disturbances. Put your cell phone on silent and silence your notifications. Have the kids go to a friend's house or hire a babysitter to take them out for the afternoon. Close all other programs on your computer. Social media can wait. Have a good pair of headphones nearby, ready to wear if needed. Set the mood. Light a candle or put another wax cube in your warmer. Slip into your favorite pair of jeans, sweats, or pajamas. Open your curtains or close them, whichever will make you happier. and take any other necessary steps to ensure you'll be the most comfortable in your environment. Grab your favorite drink and a few snacks, whether you like juice, coffee, seltzer, or water, Swiss rolls, apple slices, or a good hearty bagel. Grab some food and drinks and place them nearby. It's always important to stay hydrated, and you want to make sure you have the brain power for what's about to come next. Plus, taking this step could help you minimize distractions if you're somebody who might get a hunger pang if things get a little rough. Think positive. Are you a glass half empty or a glass half full type of person? We saved this one for last, but it could arguably be one of the most important tips we want to leave you with today. Those who are the latter, those who are more optimistic, tend to better manage stress, and that in turn has a whole lot of other health benefits. And another important thing to remember, if you don't succeed the first time, try again. A failed AHIP test is not the end of the world. In fact, you can retake the test 2 more times. If you fail your extra attempts, you can re-enroll and purchase 3 more. It's important to note that many carriers will not accept 3 failures in a given year and could prohibit you from selling their products the next year. So you should aim to succeed by your 3rd attempt, though we believe you'll pass on your first. If you do need to take AHIP a 2nd or 3rd time, there's no specific time you have to wait in between tests. If you only miss the mark by a few points, you could retake the test right away. However, we recommend spending time reviewing the questions and material you struggled with, especially if you took notes on them as you were taking the test. And be sure to study before your next attempt. Many returning Medicare agents say AHIP is easy once you get the hang of it. Nobody's perfect, especially when learning something new. If you answer more questions incorrectly than you thought you would, or if you fail your first time taking the final AHIP exam, don't count yourself out. Just study up on those areas a little more. You have 3 chances to pass the exam, and if you follow these tips and tricks and put in the effort you need to, you should pass and may even have at least one of those chances left to spare. Have more questions? Send them into our show at asgpodcast@ritterim.com. We would love to help answer those questions for you. We wish you the best of luck in your test prep endeavors. Be sure to send in those questions if you have them. And thanks for taking the time to listen today. We will see you next episode. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an integrity company. This episode was written by Roxanne Anderson, script proofing by Tina Lamoureux, podcast design by Urban Rivera, recording and production by me, Sarah Ruppel. Follow along with our show wherever you like to listen. Rate and review our show on Apple or Spotify.